God. Ask God.
Hi, Scott. My name is Taylor. My husband and I just started listening to your podcast a couple weeks ago, but are super excited and ready to jump in the deep end. We've already narrowed down the product we want to go with and started reaching out to suppliers for samples. But in our planning, we're thinking we are going to need more capital than we initially expected due to purchasing orders in the beginning and then the delay with getting paid by Amazon, as well as the pay-per-click campaign we want to run. We're going to be pretty aggressive with that in the beginning in order to help boost our BSR and start generating those organic sales. And if you've already covered this subject, I apologize. If you could maybe just point me in the right direction, that would be so awesome. But if not, wanted to get your take or your thoughts on capital and cash flow. What was your plan for that in the beginning? Did it go according to plan, or once that snowball got rolling, did you have to pause a little bit and revamp in order to keep that cash flow coming in on the positive side? Any advice or help you have is so greatly appreciated, and we are just pumped to keep listening and get the ball rolling. Thank you so much, and hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.
Hey, Taylor, thank you so much for the question, and I love it. Another husband-wife team or wife-husband team. Love it. You guys all probably know just from listening to my story, my wife and I are partners in life and in business, and we love it. And a lot of people say, how do you do it? How do you work with your spouse every single day? And I've talked about it before. It's not that difficult, especially if you get along. But sometimes, you even get along and you don't want to work with each other. I get it. But congratulations on that, Taylor, that you guys are. And that's really awesome that you guys are excited, because it is a huge deal to be able to support each other. And I talked about that on episode 300. If you guys didn't listen to episode 300, you're probably going to want to do that. That was my complete, in-depth, deep story, which I didn't even know it was going to go that deep. Chris Schaefer interviewed me and dug out a lot of things that I kind of forgot about. But I had some emails come through after that and said, I think, what you have is, a really great wife that supports you, and that's a huge component. And I agree. I do think that anyone in any type of relationship, whether it's a partnership or a marriage, that will be that huge asset that you can have. And I think everyone should try to find that, whether it's within your spouse or whether it's, a partnership. But anyway, all right. So to answer your question about capital, now it sounds like you're gung-ho, which is awesome. You're ready to take action. That's cool. I might take a deep breath and step back a second, because the one thing, especially if you're just starting, you've never been in this market before, you're kind of testing the waters, I would be careful going all in the beginning. That's just me personally. I would want to test the market a little bit before I start thinking to myself, how am I going to buy more inventory? Like I hear people that say, well, Scott, if I order 1,000 units, I get it at $5. If I order 3,000 units, I get it at $4. I think I'm going to go ahead and get the 4,000 units or 5,000 units or whatever it is to get that price break. That to me is not my plan. I don't want to do that. I'd rather pay a little more and see if this is going to actually work. And if it is going to work, then we can scale. Yes, I might run out of stock. Okay, so what? We know a lot of people that have run out of inventory and they get back in inventory and things just pick up right where they left off, especially if they have good pay-per-click campaigns going and if you were already selling well when you ran out of stock. But if you do need capital after the fact, number one is the capital coming back in the business. You're probably going to want to reinvest that right away. Like I would say the first 6 months should be like reinvest. That's kind of what I've done. That's what I do in any partnerships that we're working in. That is definitely what we want to do. We want to take that cash flow and bring it back into the business. But then at some point you got to say, well, I got to start paying myself. And I do believe that. There's actually a book that I read. Oh gosh, I probably should remember the name of this, but I believe it's like Profit First. I think that was the name. And it's all about paying yourself first as a bill in the business. And I really like that, which we might have to talk about that again in the future. Maybe I'll even have to reach out to that author and have him on the show. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, I think that paying yourself first, a lot of us don't think of it like that. Like even if it's just $500 a month, just so this way here, if there's cash flow coming in, yes, we want to buy more inventory, but that will also reduce the amount of scaling that we can do if we take money right off of the top from the beginning. So I'd say, especially if you already have a job, then I would just say reinvest until you get yourselves established. You start to see what's selling and how well it's selling. But you can always, once you start selling too, the advantage of inside of your Seller Central account is you'll start to, or maybe you can even send in your own request, but a lot of times they'll put something in your Seller Central account and it'll say, hey, want $15,000 at 4.9% interest? Click here, you're already pre-approved. Because what they're doing now is they're looking at your past sales, and then from there, they're going to give you a percentage of that. Your interest rate will reflect that as well. And to some people, if you're just going to turn that money over, if it's a 30-day, like if you know that you're going to buy $15,000 worth of inventory, you're going to be able to turn that over and pay that, basically that loan off immediately, then you're just playing with their money. That's something that you can do. You can also do that. I know people that have done it with credit cards. They have a $25,000 limit on their credit card. They'll just use that as their inventory money. But you got to be careful with that because you need to know if the product is going to sell through, right? It's one thing to have that and then have to pay this huge high interest rate. Obviously, you probably want to plan for that. You want to say, well, if I don't sell, what if I sell in 60 days? What's the interest rate going to be? What am I going to pay on interest? Maybe it's only $200 on that money that you're going to spend for a month of having it outstanding. Then just figure that into your cost of goods and you're good. And actually, I believe that's a tax write-off as well. So, there's different ways that you can think about it. But I would say Amazon has its own lending service. You also have your own probably credit cards. And then if you wanted to, you could reach out to someone and partner with them that just wanted to be the money of the company. Obviously, you want to have something drawn up with an attorney. So this way here, if something happens or they don't get their money back in a certain amount of time, you just wouldn't want to go down that road to where it was unclear and then they get mad at you and then you have a legal issue. You don't want that either. That personally, unless that partnership was in there and wanted that same amount of risk that you have, then I would probably say try to do the other two first. I would try to get outside lending through Amazon or through my own credit cards, stuff like that. So that's what I would do. Though those are like three different options. But again, going back to the beginning, I know that you're excited. I know that you think this is going to be that, and it sounds like you think it's going to be a home run, which kind of makes me say like, whoa, like, let's back away for a second. We're not reaching for the fences right now. We're reaching for a base hit or a double. So this way here, we can kind of get our feet wet, learn through that process, whether you're following the 10 by 10 by 1 strategy that I've outlined before. It's going to depend on what you're going after. But I don't like to see people swing for the fences on their first product, especially because you're learning through that process. So hopefully this has been helpful. I know I just ranted a little bit more there on that, but I just wanted to really dig into that because I think there's other things than just saying go out there and get the money, right? You got to think about the consequences, but you also have to think about the turn of the money. Like how long is it going to be there? How much is it going to cost you for the money? And does that all make sense? So hopefully this has helped you. Good luck. Keep me posted and go husband-wife teams. Well, hey there. Thank you so much for listening to that episode of Ask Scott. Now, that was just a highlight from one of our full episodes where I generally answer 3 to 4 questions on a podcast. If you want to go back and listen to all of the past archives of not just the Ask Scott session, but all of the full episodes where I do interviews with top Amazon sellers, people starting from scratch and building a business, if you want to listen to any of those episodes, head over to theamazingseller.com and you can find all of that over there. You can also find details there on how you can ask your own question and get it aired on an upcoming Ask Scott session and possibly see it here on YouTube or just on the podcast. All right, so definitely head over to theamazingseller.com. There's tons of resources over there for you to be able to build your e-commerce and Amazon business. So definitely go check that out. Now, I just wanted to remind you one thing before I let you go. There's a lot of information out there and some of it is really, really good. What I want you to remember is you have to not just consume the information, you have to actually apply that information. So take this information that you learned here today and apply it to your business. And this way here, you can get results. As my shirt says, I wear it almost daily. Take action. We'll see you guys.